Hi, this is Paul Slakis, Good News Planet and Peace Day Party, and I have a big honor today. I'm speaking to Gary Zukav. Hi, Gary. How are you?
Hello, Paul.
Wow, I'm very excited to announce, as you have, your 25th anniversary edition with a study guide of The Seed of the Soul, with prefaces by Oprah Winfrey and Maya Angelou, and a new foreword by you. And congratulations. This must be very exciting for you.
Thank you, Paul. It is very exciting. It is very exciting not because it's a re-release of a book that I wrote, but because this has the study guide in it. It's because so many millions have been sold since the first edition came out. And I don't attribute that to my writing. I attribute it to the content of the book. And the content of the book didn't really come from me. It came from the universe. And but by that I mean I don't feel that it's possible to create alone. We're never alone. And I love that book, and I love the content in it, and I love the fact that I felt the desire to put my life energy into sharing it. So in that sense, I have a paternity in it. But the Seed of the Soul is about an evolutionary shift that we're in now, an enormous transformation that's occurring as we speak and has been occurring, well, for about the last 25 or so years. And it is a shift that is expanding our awareness beyond the five senses. We are aware of things that we, in general, as a species, weren't before. We're becoming aware of ourselves as more than bodies and minds, but as souls as well. We're becoming aware of our lives as meaningful and offering opportunities continually to grow spiritually. And we're becoming aware of the universe as compassionate and wise. And by the way, all of this is coming from someone who grew up in Kansas and got a scholarship to Harvard and wrote a book on quantum physics and then was a Green Beret officer. So when I began to discover these things, it was news to me too.
Oh my God!
It was truly news, and I wanted to share it, and I have. And that's why I'm so excited that 25 years later, this book is not only being released again, re-released. The original was still in print and still selling a lot, but the new one has an 85-page study guide that I wrote to help people apply the content and the principles in the Seed of the Soul in practical, everyday terms in their lives. That's what's important. And this study guide has links to an online extension. And the online extension has videos and audio meditations that I recorded, 17 videos and 16 audio meditations. And I'm just so completely pleased and delighted to be able to support people in this way, using the internet, using digital tools. I wanted to do that for some time, and I'm just delighted to share it with you and with our viewers and listeners.
Let me ask a question. The word soul, how does Gary feel about that word? What's your thought about that, soul?
Oh, it's become maybe the central word in my life. I had no idea before I began to experience the things that I did how essential, how central, how key that word is. Soul. I got the good fortune of working on a series called The Brain many years ago, the Brain series, the first big one. Mm-hmm. And the brain and the soul, are they connected, do you think? Nothing is not connected, Paul. Nothing. Everything is a form of life with a capital L, or consciousness with a capital C, or love with a capital L. Those are all the same things. Everything is or consciousness. Everything is a thought form, or a feeling form, or a physical form. And as we expand in our perception, we begin to see that all of what we can experience and what we thought was the universe is actually a small part of the universe. We can call it the Earth School. It's a learning environment in which we learn to create authentic power, the power of the heart, the power of love, and to live our lives that way by experiencing everything in us that doesn't want that, challenging it, and choosing otherwise. So now your question is, are the brain and the soul related? Everything is related to the soul. It's not as though we have body, mind, and soul, or body, mind, and spirit. Our entire existence is a spiritual enterprise, not a material enterprise. And the brain belongs to the material part of this spiritual enterprise, you might say. The Earth School is, you might call it the densest level of light, but it is holy, it is sacred, and it must be honored. And so I won't say the brain isn't important, but the brain is not the origin of consciousness. Consciousness is the origin of the brain. So it's in that sense, when we say brain, we can talk about affect, cognition, perception, motor control, but the soul is much more than that. Your personality, the part of you that was born on a certain date and that will die on a certain date, will return to ashes and dust on that last date. It is an energy tool that your soul adapts or adopts in order to learn in the domain of the five senses, in the domain of time and space, matter and duality. The brain is part of that physical structure. It does not outlast. Your soul is immortal. So you can use your brain to grow spiritually. You can use your brain to entertain expanding thoughts, thoughts that open you. For example, we can feel, how does the thought that the universe is inert, which means dead, cold, random, or merciless, that's a theological term, or uncaring, a psychological term, how do all of those affect you? Now compare that with the thought that the universe is alive, wise, and compassionate. Wise.
I love it, Gary. You know, many years ago, in the Tuesday science section of the New York Times, it said, love is more powerful than gravity.
Bucky Fuller said that. He said, I'm going to have to send you something. I wish I had it to read. I wrote it for an anthology having to do with Bucky. But he said, in effect, that love is gravity. And he's absolutely right. It's omnipresent. Gravity is something that exists in the Earth School. Love is something that the universe is. There's nothing more fundamental, just as in the Earth School, is while we're on the Earth, this small planet, gravity is everywhere. It affects everything we do. We move in fields of gravity. We move in fields of love, and as we expand our perception, we begin to sense that. We can't see it with our five senses, but we can experience it with other faculties that are now becoming more important to us.
But he sure understood, in addition to soul, he understood space with his geodesic dome, right? He understood what's happening after you touch the planet Earth, the ground, the level, you move up a little bit. He made good use of it.
I don't really know that much about Bucky. He passed on a little after the Dancing Woolly Masters. My first book was written, and he sent me a copy of one of his books, and he inscribed it, and we were going to get together. And I feel a resonance with him, and so many of my friends who knew him feel that he was such an exceptional person in the world, and it's rubbed off on me. I think that he would love the discussions we're having now, and I suspect in some way he's not apart from them.
In some way he's, of course, hearing us, I guess. It all depends. The soul, they say sometimes, the soul you will go to heaven. You think that way? What do you think about our next? I mean, you and I are talking, and with words, sounds on a telephone with some thoughts that we've gotten from Kansas and Tarrytown, where I grew up, until today. Where do you think our next phase is for us, human beings?
It's marvelous, but I don't think it's automatic. I think we have to create it. The soul doesn't go to heaven. That's a Western thought, Christian thought in particular, Catholic thought. But we can create. We don't have to die to go to heaven. We can create it right here. We can create a heaven on earth. Most of us are living in a hell on earth, and that's because we're unaware of so many parts of our personality, such as the parts that are angry, jealous, resentful, superior, inferior. And we may be dimly aware of those parts. We may know when we're angry. We may not know when we're jealous. We may know. But until we begin to become aware of the emotions underneath these emotions, the physical sensations underneath them, it's only then that we develop emotional awareness. And when you develop emotional awareness, which means experiencing your emotions somatically, and you know the physical sensations that fill your body, say in your, not all of your body, but say certain areas, your chest, your throat, your solar plexus, when you can feel them, the physical sensations that underlie or that are anger. So you become angry and you decide not to act in anger, but instead to turn your attention inward to these areas of your body. And then you'll begin to feel what they are. First they'll feel uncomfortable, and then as you become very aware of them, they'll be excruciating. Most people live in that ball. They live in a hell, and they try to cover the pain of the hell by exploding in anger or acting in jealousy or fulfilling a compulsive need or an addictive craving. But until you find those and experience those physical sensations in yourself and see how painful they are, you won't know what a hell you're living in. And that's what drives all of your destructive behaviors, is to mask that pain. That's the pain of powerlessness. That's the pain of wanting to belong and not belonging, of feeling as though you're, pardon me, intrinsically defective or inherently flawed, as though you want to love and you're not capable of it, and you need to be loved and you're unlovable. If you think that people could see you the way you see yourself, they wouldn't want anything.